Boys, welcome back to another Brookowski's YouTube video. Today we're talking the Saturday doubleheader. Got two great games. Got the Buffalo Bills at the Denver Broncos, and then we got the Seattle Seahawks hosting the San Francisco 49ers. So again, two great ones. This Broncos game, I believe Broncos are favored by 1.5 at home. So that one's honestly kind of a coin flip. That should be a great one. Seahawks, I want to say, are favored by 7. They were 7.5. It's moved down to 7. Apparently, a lot of money has been put on the San Francisco 49ers, so we'll see, but can't rule them out. They are very injured, very, very injured, but they still played great against the Eagles last week. Going to Seattle, it's going to be tough. They just lost Week 18, 13-3, but they did beat them Week 1. Week 1 was ages ago. It's almost like two completely different teams at this point. I mean, the Raiders beat the Patriots in Week 1, so Week 1 was a while ago, but yeah, I got my 3-ish best picks I got for the Saturday doubleheader. Feeling pretty good about these ones, and yeah, we'll get right into it. My first one up, I am going to the Buffalo Bills, and I hate to do it. I'm taking James Cook less than rushing yards. I know James Cook has been a beast this season, but his last few games, especially in the playoffs, last week against the Jaguars, another good run defense, 46 yards, 3.1 average. So he did have some blow-up games before this, but the two games before, okay, well, this one doesn't count. 2 for 15, didn't really play. 20 carries, still had less, 74 against the Eagles. The Browns popped off, New England popped off. So again, I know he has been really good, but he does have these games, like 48 in a win against Tampa Bay, 53 in an L to Miami, 49 against the Patriots, 44 Week 1. So there are games where James Cook doesn't pop off. And we look at the Denver Broncos rushing defense. They have been incredible. The number 2 run defense in the NFL. Also, coming off that bye week, obviously the number 1 seed had that first round bye. And at home, Denver is the number 1 run defense in the league. So obviously, with them being the number 1 seed, the game is in Denver. So super tough defense. James Cook against another tough defense. We look, Jacksonville, number 1, had a pretty rough game. I think with all the injuries, some crazy thing like the Bills have like 3 healthy receivers. Shavers is out with an ACL. Gabe Davis is out with an ACL. So they're going to be keying in on the run, stacking the box. I don't think James Cook has a very big game. I think if he does, it's through the receiving game. I don't think he'll have very much success in the running game. So that's my first pick. Yeah. Don't like to take unders in the playoffs. You like to root for your guys, but this one, it's just too high of a number for me. I'm going less than 79 rushing yards for James Cook. Some other ones I like. This one I think raised. Yeah, wow, this turned to a flat. I think before it was 7.5, so that's a big major jump. As Josh Allen, I think like 7 straight games with 8+ or 7+, something like that. But that one's a little bit scary now, so I'm not touching that. They also have less payout for lower, so not touching that one anymore. But another player I do like, RJ Harvey receiving yards. 20+ for RJ Harvey. He actually has kind of been cooking the last few weeks. I know he's had games with horrible efficiency. But we'll pull up his game log here. Over the last few, has been crushing it through the air. He has 5 missed, but then 33 and 71. So 109 receiving yards over his last 3 games. Even this game, 25, 27, 20, had a stretch where he hit it 3 in a row as well. 51 was a big one. Even earlier in the season, 20, 40. So obviously earlier in the year, wasn't hitting it super consistently. Wasn't getting a ton of work though. The last few weeks with no J.K. Dobbins, he has been getting a lot more work. So you could argue you want the rushing yards. It's just he has games with horrible efficiency, like 1.9, 3.1, 3.4, 2.7, 2.7, 2.3, 2.5. It's just, yeah, his yards per carry has not been great. 3.7 on the season. So rushing yards, it's a bit of hit and miss with me. I like it because Buffalo has been horrible against running backs. They, I believe, are 25th. So that could be an argument, take the rushing yards. But they've also been very bad against running backs for receiving yards. We look at Bills' last game against ETN. I believe he had 49 receiving yards. We'll double check that, but against a pretty solid receiving back, they did give up some yards. So Lawrence only had 207. Lawrence has been balling out, only 207, but 49 of that and 5 receptions went to Travis Etienne. So I think RJ Harvey, against a pretty weak defense against running backs, has a good game. I think it's through the air, though. So I'm taking RJ Harvey 20-plus receiving yards. I'm taking James Cook less than 79 rushing yards. Then we'll move down to the Seattle-San Francisco game. CMC's tempting. I think they'll run through him with no George Kittle. I honestly might end up taking him as my pick. Kenneth Walker balled out last time they played San Fran. 16 for 97 and then 36 receiving yards as well. So we look at the line, 57, 12.5. So it's tempting. Definitely is tempting. But also week 1, I think he had like 20 rushing yards on 11 attempts. Again, completely different defense. The Niners are unbelievably injured right now. So it is completely different. JSN, one of the best receivers in the league. Receptions, I do like. Last week against San Fran, when they were just running like crazy, the Niners offense, complete brain fart there. Couldn't do anything, so they weren't really forced to throw. Still had 6 for 84. So with JSN, I think this was a flat line. Okay, well, changing the lines, but yeah, I don't hate 7+ receptions for JSN. I like 7+ more than 94.5. Because if we pull up the game log, I believe there's been games where he has hit 7, but not 95+ receiving yards. So here, like 9 for 72, crushed the receptions, missed the yards. Look for other options. Yep, 7 for 92, crushed, then missed. But there's also counter arguments. 93 still technically missed, but only 5 receptions. But yeah, I would take receptions over the yards there. That would be my personal preference. And in week 1, 9 for 124. And then last time they played, they have the bye as well, 6 for 84. So has 15 receptions in 2 games against the Niners. I think they'll lean on him heavily once again. So JSN is the good option. If I were to take him, he would be, it would be receptions. Sam Darnold's an interesting one. Not sure I want to touch Sam Darnold. Yeah, receiving or passing yards haven't been great, but they were just running like crazy. Like Zach Charbonnet had a great game. He's tempting too. Charbonnet, 17 for 74. But my favorite pick, I've been holding out for a while, Jake Tonges. They moved the line up. It was 35.5. It's all the way up to 37.5. I am still taking it though. Without George Kittle in the lineup, he's been absolutely crushing. Jake Tonges game log. Wow, I butchered that spelling. Gmail login. But anyways, this game, he wasn't supposed to be playing. It was Kittle, but he got hurt, so not part of the game plan, really. I don't really count that one. So 14 yards, 1 catch. But in games that he has, you can tell when George Kittle doesn't play. Against Chicago, 9 targets, 7 catches, 60 yards. And he had this crazy stretch at the beginning of the year with no George Kittle. Kittle got hurt in week 1. Then after that, 31, 21, 58, 41, 58 with targets of 5, 11, and 7. Yes, that was with Mac Jones, but the proof is in the pudding right here with Brock Purdy with no George Kittle. 9 targets, 7 receptions, 60 yards. So he's very much a part of this offensive game plan. With no George Kittle, they are going to be desperate, absolutely desperate for other weapons to step up. I think Jake Tonges does get involved in this offense. So I think CMC is going to have to be a mainstay as always. But I think Jake Tonges does hit 38.5. If you want to get 4+ receptions, obviously lower payout, but probably better chance of it happening. But I'm taking the yards, 38+ for Tonges, 20+ for Harvey, less than 79 rushing yards for James Cook. I'll do one more after this, but again, boys, as always, take advantage of all the free picks and the free dough on Underdog, Sleeper, Chalkboard, PrizePicks with code BROS. It's BROS. They'll give you a deposit match and free picks. The best one though right now, Sleeper, code BROS, free $20, no deposit necessary. Available in all these states and provinces in Canada as well. So absolute no-brainer when the video's over. go take advantage. Code BROS on Sleeper will give you a free $20 to play with. But yeah, as always, Underdog Sleeper, Chalkboard Prize Picks, free picks, and deposit matches. So take advantage of all that with code BROS. Yeah, and my last pick, I was talking about it earlier, CMC total yards. We'll see if the line's moved up. It was 109 before. It's up to 111, so up by 2 yards. He's going to have to be so heavily involved. This is insane. 0.87 to get 7 receptions at running back. With no George Kittle, they are going to lean on CMC so incredibly heavy. I'm almost tempted with that receptions line to take the receiving yards actually instead. Because if they're projecting him to get 7 receptions, we'll just look at games with CMC where he gets 7+ receptions and how often he hits the yards. So here, receiving, receptions. 6 for 34, missed. But again, it's not 7. So he does actually have these games where he gets a crap ton of receptions and doesn't get a lot of yards. 8 for 66, 7 for 57, 7 for 72, 5 for 67, 8 for 66, probably said that, 10 for 88, 9 for 73 against Seattle. But yeah, last time I played Seattle, 6 receptions, only 34 yards. They obviously shut him down big time. You know what? I am going to switch. I was going to do total yards. I'm taking receiving yards. If they're projecting to get 7 catches, I think 52 yards is definitely in the realm of possibilities. With no George Kittle, it's going to revolve around CMC and then Jake Tonjes as well. So those are my 4 best picks I'm taking for the Saturday doubleheader. Hopefully we cash. Hopefully you guys enjoy watching the games. And yeah, we'll see you again tomorrow for the Sunday doubleheader. Take care.